You know what's wonderful about things not working out the way we want? We get to practice patience, right? We get to practice patience. So actually today what I wanted us to work on, inviting the light, obviously. And so we'll begin now. So I want us to begin by observing our emotions, observing where we are today. I'm kind of just checking in with the self. Let's close the eyes for a moment. And as we focus on the breath, we give ourselves permission to come back. Come back to our body. Rest our awareness in this body, in this moment. Perhaps noticing the way the clothing feels against the skin. The way the soles of the feet touch. Or your fingertips. Becoming aware of what it feels like to be sitting here in this moment. And perhaps inviting the question, how can I relax a bit more now? How can I let go? Beginning to notice the exhale. Allowing perhaps the exhale to be long and deep in a comfortable way, in a relaxing and soothing way. Observing what is here. The way the body feels in this moment. Perhaps sensing yourself, simply observing. Noticing the space between the thoughts. The space between the breaths. Becoming aware of the spaces of silence. The empty spaces. Allowing silence to be here. Noticing the thoughts perhaps like clouds passing by, simply observing them, not engaging with them, not adding narrative, simply observing the thoughts and the space between them. And encountering that space, that silence, and allowing it to be here effortlessly. Surrendering into that space of silence and calm. Noticing the space between sounds. Noticing the silence. And allowing that calm space to continue to expand, continue to deepen. Just observing, nothing to do. The space between the sounds, the space between the breaths, between the thoughts. Simply observing the spaces, the silence. allowing yourself to soften every time. How can I let go? How can I surrender just a bit more? And continuing to observe the spaces between thoughts and the spaces between sounds. Noticing the space between the breaths. Perhaps noticing the way the breath enters and travels. How it becomes more soothed and calm as we observe the silence, the quiet spaces that are here. Observing effortlessly the spaces between sounds, between breath, the silence. and sensing the way the clothing feels against your body. The breath. While still observing the silence and the spaces of deep calm and quiet. Perhaps noticing the soles of the feet or the way the fingers or hands feel in this moment. Perhaps noticing the gentle aliveness inside the body. What the fingers feel like, the hands, the palms. Observing gently what is here now. How can I sense the spaces and silences within my own being? The spaces between the breaths, the spaces between the fingers, and allowing silence and gentleness to be there, to be present here and now. Simply observing what is here. Allowing all that is here to be just as it is right now. Effortlessly observing and allowing. and beginning to notice the body in this moment, sitting here. What the breath feels like. In the belly, in the lower belly. Aware of the hands, the feet, and the space that is here now. The silence. Surrendering. Letting go. And very gently observing this moment. Observing yourself returning. Returning to the body sensation, to the sounds, to the gentle movement of the breath. Returning. Allowing the consciousness to return like the sun rising in the early morning, gently, kindly, patiently. Sensing a sense of aliveness, a sense of release. And beginning to very gently move the fingers or the toes Perhaps even stretching or moving the body gently with the eyes closed. Allowing that sense of spaciousness, calm and silence to remain. As we begin to gently open the eyes, observing what is here. Returning, letting the sun rise gently, calmly, patiently. If you have something to write and would like to write down your experience, please do so now. And if not, just sitting with yourself, aware of your experience, honoring what has been present, where we have been. So today, inviting this sense of non-judgmental observation of what is here. Perhaps observing the room you're in, the space. Allowing the body to be here. What does it feel like to be sitting where I'm sitting? How does my body feel now that I am present after meditation? Can I remain in that calm momentum? What's the hurry? As I am present and aware of my own body, this space, just noticing your own consciousness in this moment. What it feels like to be alive today. Can I meet my life without judgment today? And judgment is a sense of discernment of this is right, this is wrong, this is better, this is worse. Can I be with what is here in a more kind way, neutral space, neutral sense of awareness? Just with this moment in time as I sit here. And perhaps noticing how the mind reaches to thought, how the mind begins to travel towards the future or the past, or what is next. can I stay with what is here today, right now? Can I stay with the peace that I've discovered? That calm, that restorative silence, that deep exhale. When we allow the mind to settle, clarity arrives. Just like the light in early morning, the rays begin to shine onto the day. And where there was once darkness, there is light. Clarity arrives. Notice what occurs when you become still and calm. When we allow the body to settle and the breath to settle. And we stop chasing or searching. Spirit, spirituality, or our good nature, the basic nature within you, is invited to be here in moments of stillness. We become aware of the observer, of the part of us behind the thoughts, underneath the thoughts, between the thoughts. The space that is here right now. It holds all things together. It's the energy between all things. It's the calm and the waves of the ocean and the air that holds the clouds. It's a presence that is aware of you and aware of me, and when we are in these spaces of stillness, we find it. We return. So to notice what is here. When the momentum settles. Silent. Silence and space and stillness. It's been called by many names. It's easy to recognize with practice. with this last few minutes of our session today, I'd like to invite you to consider any questions that you have. You're always checking in with yourself first. Do I already have the answer to that? Do I already know? So I do like to remind you that these are recorded. And will be placed on YouTube. But perhaps consider the invitation of you're a teacher in your own right. Each one of us can be a student and a teacher at all times, in different situations, times. And perhaps how can my question serve others? Perhaps it does. Perhaps it doesn't. But what if it does? So I'd like to open up the forum. If you do have a question, please do ask. Or any comment you'd like to make about your experience with the meditation. I like to open up the circles after our experiences for the purpose of always reminds me of in tribes, just sitting together and sharing, or our own family tribes. When I was little, I like to share when the light will go off, like you know how the electricity sometimes goes off. I remember gathering with my sisters and in the dark, and we would make like pan con mantequilla, bread with butter, and coffee, of course, café con leche, right? Coffee. Little girls eating, drinking coffee, and we would just talk, just share, and sharing with our own tribes. I think it's important. So I'd like to welcome that up. If you'd like to share. Ali, hi.
Hi, good morning, good day. I noticed something different.
Can't hear you.
Oh, really? Let me see. Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You can hear her? Yeah, I can't hear it. It's weird.
Okay. Mental.
I can't hear. Let me try. Can you speak?
Now, test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Can't hear you.
No.
Do you hear, Ana Maria, do you hear me?
So,
no, I don't
ask the question out loud. And then if you don't mind texting it to me, chatting, putting it in the chat because I can't hear it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Ana Maria, do you hear me? No, she's not hearing.
Try again. Hold on.
Do you guys hear me?
Speak?
Tere, do you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Celeste, I can hear you.
It might just be my own sound, so please go ahead.
It's her sound.
So, Ana Maria, can you hear me now?
No.
I don't think so.
It's okay. Speak. It will be recorded.
Okay.
And then I'll be able to hear it through the chat. It's all right.
Okay.
I figure it's at my end. Let's see. Let me see if I can get something.
My breath was changing. First breath was on my stomach and the second on my lungs.
I hear you now. Hi.
Yes.
It was so weird. And first, all my breathing was coming to my stomach, and the second was on my lungs. And to exhale was first on my stomach, was like guided to do that in that way, and suddenly I don't know when that changed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
And what that was about?
I don't know. I will ask later. But one thing that I believe, because there are many of the Munanki class, an eagle appears, and
Mm-hmm.
the moon and the sun,
Oh, wow.
and I saw a triangle from my shoulders.
Oh, I see. Wow. That was interesting. Yesterday, if I may, it's connected to this. I went for a walk, one of my favorite areas, and I saw an eagle in the middle of my area. Grabbed a little animal from the lake, and I just was like, oh my God, like he did it so gently, like just mad. And I just thought, oh my God, that little bird is gonna die now. Be this eagle's food. And what I found interesting about that is that I saw prey and predator, and can I hold both in my vision without choosing, without judgment?
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought of so I certainly think that this is a teaching here for us. One of my favorite photos, it's a National Geographic picture of a wolf, white wolf, um, eating its prey. And more importantly, because of his eyes and the kindness that was in his eyes. And I just thought, how can there be kindness in his eyes as he's doing this? How can there not be? You know, how can I practice non-judgment? The wolf cannot help but be a wolf. The eagle cannot help but.
Frozen.
So yes, so I believe that I got dropped. What was the last thing I said? So it's all right.
The wolf
The
doesn't
wolf.
cannot help itself from being a wolf.
Correct. Yeah. So it's how many times do we judge? And I'm not saying there's any wrong or right ways. I'm just sharing my own opinion here, or my own insight that has worked for me here. But I invite you to inquire for yourselves. You know, that I mean, that's the whole point of these circles, is to inquire, to check in with your own wisdom and see, you know, what do I think about that? But I recall when I saw the eagle picking the little bird, why do I even need to choose? You know, the eagle needs to eat and the prey will fight back. You know, the nature universe sets us up equipped, you know, to protect ourselves. That's why we have fight, flight, freeze. right? Ingrained in us. But outside of that, in that moment, I saw prey and predator. Can I observe both with no sense of judgment? And it's hard. I know it's hard. At least for me, it's hard. Because my first instinct is to go save the little bird. But how often do we do that? Determined, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And so just to inquire, how is that serving me? Today the practice was really, thank you, Ali, to share. And if you want to add anything else, just unmute yourself, okay? The exploration was to observe what is here, to observe it in a neutral stance, in a stance, to welcome life as it is here. And perhaps to begin to inquire, and we'll focus this in upcoming sessions, how we add narrative to what's going on. Like in the moment of the prey and the predator, I caught myself for a moment adding to what I was seeing. So adding, meaning like adding my own story to the experience. In that moment, all that is happening is a large bird grabbing a bird and flying off with it. That's all. But I, of course, add, oh my God, that poor little bird. What am I going to do now? What am I going to do? And looking for the eagle to see where he went. And all I could do in my own spiritual practice was to pray for both. Pray that, the predator be gentle and kind, aware of what it's doing, and that the little bird goes smoothly onto wherever his journey. What else can I do? So invite yourself to consider, the different circumstances in life that might be going on. How am I encountering that? What narrative am I giving to what is? Even today with your own session, can I experience what was here? Just allowing it to be as it was, with the good moments and the bad moments, right? The good moments, the bad moments. The fact that the internet goes off and the fact that the internet comes back. That Zoom drops me and that Zoom brings me back. And so, can I allow what is here and make the best of it? That's just an invitation. Good. One more question, please.
I have a comment.
Yes, hi.
I don't know if other people experience the same, but at one moment when I was in the meditation, seeing the thoughts going, they were like in little clouds. And after that, I tried to think about them and I couldn't.
That's right.
I did it on purpose. I was trying to bring one of those thoughts back, and I was like in a bubble, and it was so protected, and it was like a circle, that those thoughts were outside that circle, out there, and I was just floating. It was very interesting because that happened to me once a long time ago, regarding fear of flying, and I tried to think about it and I couldn't. So the fear didn't go in. It didn't kick in, and the same thing happened this time. I couldn't think. Nothing was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if somebody else had that.
Yeah, I can give more explanation about it, but I want to inquire first to your own wisdom, in your own wise self. What was the bubble? Why were the thoughts separate from that?
It was the calmness. It was the trust. There was a lot of light, and of course, God surrounding. I was protected from all of this, no matter what
That's right.
was happening
That's right.
around me.
That's right.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Hence why we do meditation here as often as possible. Yes. Yeah. That is grace. That is grace. That's the bubble of feeling, that sense of you're always held. Grace is here, surrounding you always. Always present, always aware. We disconnect our consciousness from it. It's right here. It's right here. Thoughts are not things. Thoughts are not real. You are not your thoughts. You are the space behind the thoughts. You are the thinker of the thoughts. And actually, the observer of the thinker of the thoughts is who you are. The observer of the thinker of the thoughts. Notice the space that comes in when I say that. That's you. You are not your thoughts. They are not real. They may feel very real. Sadness feels very real. Grief feels very real. But it will pass. It will, from moment to moment, it transforms itself like vapor. You can go through long periods of time experiencing one particular emotion or one particular thought, but it shifts if you notice it carefully, if you become aware of it. You begin to notice the space. And that's what Celeste was talking about. Thank you, Celeste. There's so much more to say about that we will explore that in continuing class. But I'd like you to meditate more on it and write more on it. We'll explore it together for sure, because there's more to. But I'm being guided to open the forum to one more person. Is there anybody else that would like to share before we close? Or are we good? That's what I thought. Beatriz, hi.
I have similar sensation like Celeste, with like being in between two clouds, like resting or being very smooth, like calm. And also I feel something like connected with my, it was like a ball, like this, but with my inner thing, like myself. I cannot tell you how. It's not my thought, it's not my heart, it is like myself, the
core
yes.
self. Yes, that's who you really are.
And it was like round, like I feel like it was like rounded thing of like of energy, of like saying it's me. I mean, like, and it says like I am the one connected with the divine.
That's right.
And but I feel the same. I saw like the clouds and being like trying to relax and being calm between the clouds, and that feeling of my inner self, that I mean is I think it's the second time I feel it in my life. Like it's not myself, not what I'm thinking, not my thoughts. It's inside.
That's right.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, because it has no words.
Okay.
It has no words. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is the innermost self. Most self. That is what I just mentioned, and words really limited, but it's the observer of the thinker, as you were mentioning, right? Does that make sense, Beatriz?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and what I found interesting also, if I may, about your imagery of the shape, and Celeste's also imagery of the shape of it being round, one of the Hindu texts that I read when I was younger. It is mentioned, I am paraphrasing, that God is places a seed inside your own heart. And from that space is when you have that connection to the divine, as you just mentioned. So it's the innermost space. And sometimes we call it the heart, right? The true self, that true nature, the basic nature, as is mentioned in Buddhism. It's this goodness inside of you. It's almost like a seed, like a little seed in there. So very interesting that you mentioned it, having that shape. What's beautiful about, in my opinion, about meditations is that we can go back to that space. We have now the imprint, the memory of what it felt to notice the clouds and to float, as Celeste mentioned, you know, to notice that observer space, that calm space, as you mentioned, only having seen that space twice. Why not go back there? See what that's about. Why now? You know, what does it want to say now? And so the invitation that I would like to give you is perhaps, you know, at some point during the week, go back to that memory and write more about it. Write from feeling that space again, sensing that space again, calling the body memory of that space. May I assist you, and certainly any additional questions that you may have, please, or comments. I'd love to hear back from you guys about that.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Ali, yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
At one moment, was moving a lot, but I felt something here, like an screw inside that was painful, and then the pain was away, but was, I don't know, or a finger, something here.
It may have been a finger from one of the guides, or from your own awareness, from your own higher self. At times it's your own higher self, it's your own saying, place attention here. Because in truth, there is no difference. It's only one being, one huge, large awareness. At least in what I consider to be one of the truths out there. Because in truth, we don't know the truth. Right? When we die, we'll know. When we die, we'll know, and we'll be like, oh man, they knew it all along. I was like, ah. But for now, you know, why not explore that? Why not explore why is my awareness, or why is the higher awareness touching there? What is there? Why was that important? So, and inquiring more about that, you know, through the journal writing, and to trust that you know you are eternal, wise beings. Wise beings. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, always know. Your heart knows. Your awareness knows. That space knows. That is the soul, the higher self, the wiser self, the God self, whatever you want to call it. You know. Trust that you know. Explore that. Good. Thank you for sharing. And any other questions you have, feel free to email me. Okay, and just give me some time to answer. All right, my dears. It's been lovely to see you all and sharing your time with me. There will be no class next Sunday because there's something else I have to do, but there will be the following Sunday on. Okay? So I send you all many blessings. Love. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, girls.